Welcome, everybody. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can actually see this. Welcome. Thank you all for being here in this room, and to those joining us on live stream. It means a great deal to us to be surrounded by so many people who care about us, who have invested in our lives, and who have shown up, both physically and from afar, is something that we do not take lightly. We are both deeply, deeply grateful. Between the two of us, Leora and I have spent years educating young Jews, running programs, teaching Torah, building communities, and now we have a new student of a very small class size, very high stakes, no syllabus, no clear learning outcomes, and I'm fairly certain she has already set the curriculum but expects us to work it out as we go. Odeya was born last Sunday, April 5th, just 4 days before her due date in the midst of Pesach, and we have already learned something about her sense of timing. She arrived early, but not too early. In fact, one of our students noted that she may be the first Tarshish to ever arrive early, which, all things considered, is quite a strong opening statement. She very generously allowed us to complete the first 2 days of Yom Tov to make it through the Sidarim, which for both of us, but especially for Leora, mattered deeply. Leora was determined to still be present, still leading the Hillel Seder on first night, and Odeya seems to have understood the assignment. I want to pause for a moment and speak about Leora. Watching her over these past months, and especially over this past week, has been remarkable. We found out that she was pregnant almost immediately after she stepped into her role as director of Hillel Queens back in August, and she worked right up until Pesach. Beginning a new role of that intensity is demanding under any circumstances. Doing so while pregnant requires a different level of strength, focus, and determination. And now, watching her become a mother with the same clarity of purpose and steadiness has been extraordinary. I feel incredibly fortunate to have Leora in my life, and I know Odeya will as well. This is also a moment of firsts. Odeya is the first grandchild for both of our parents, and the first great-grandchild for my grandma Ev, and the first niece for our siblings. As the first grandchild on both sides of my own family, I've always known that there is something powerful about that, about being the one who opens a new chapter in a family story. Before giving all of you some insight into Odeya's name, I have a few specific thank yous. This year, we have truly felt the impact of being part of such a strong community here in Kingston. The outpouring of love, the generosity, the support, the number of gifts and donations and thoughtful gestures we have received have been overwhelming in the best possible way. Odeya begins her life with everything that she needs, not only materially, but relationally. She enters a world in which she is clearly already deeply held, and we are both profoundly thankful. To everyone who has supported us so far and offered support in the days, weeks, and months ahead, thank you. I want to make a special note of our Hillel community. Hillel is the reason we came to Canada and to Kingston. The work we have both done with Jewish students, initially at Western and since 2020 at Queen's, has been central to our lives for almost 8 years now. Many of our students are with us here today, and we even have alumni who have made the journey back to Kingston this morning to be here especially. Many more have sent thoughtful messages and brought gifts for her. Over the years, we have lost count of the number of times students have referred to us as their surrogate parents, which has always been a mixture of both amusing and meaningful to us. But now something shifts. Now those students become Odeya's honorary aunties and uncles, and this is a very special moment for us. We also want to express a very particular thank you to my brother Michael and sister-in-law Lucy. They have been with us for the past few weeks, and quite honestly, I don't think we know how we would have managed without them. When flights in and out of Ben Gurion were essentially grounded in the context of everything that has been unfolding recently in the region, Leora's sister Amy, who was supposed to be with us here for the birth, had her flight out cancelled, And simultaneously, Michael and Lucy, who had planned to be in Israel for Pesach, had their flights cancelled too. Within about 48 hours of this happening, it was decided that they would come here instead. And while the circumstances causing this change have been incredibly difficult, having them here has been a true silver lining. Leora, Odeya and I have no family in Canada, and we don't get to see family overseas very often. Michael and Lucy have spent the last year living in Melbourne, Australia, and this is actually the first time we have been with them since their wedding in September 2024. Furthermore, in many ways, they were the family members almost best placed to offer the kind of meaningful and practical support we need at a time like this. Michael, about to begin his OB residency back in London in August, and Lucy, a social worker in child welfare. Between them, they have been an endless source of advice. They have stepped in for feedings and nappy changes. I'm still struggling to say diaper, and even managed to bring us kosher for Pesach meals during our first 24 hours in the hospital. Having them here has been truly special, and we can't wait to see them again later this year, and for them to see how much Odeya will have grown. And now, what I think you've all been waiting for, to her name, Odeya Miriam Tarshish. We chose the name Odeya very intentionally way back in October, and it was hard for both of us not to tell people. I think particularly for me, I like telling people things. And at this moment in our lives, there is really only one word that feels honest, and that's gratitude. We have waited a long time for this. We have hoped for this. And now standing here, holding her, beginning this new chapter, we are acutely aware that this is a gift. That this is not something we take for granted, and so the name we chose reflects that. Odeya means I will thank God. Not I have thanked, not I once felt grateful, but I will thank, again and again, in moments of clarity and in moments of challenge, in the times when the blessings feel obvious and in the times when it needs to be searched for. It is not passive gratitude, it is a posture, a commitment to live a life of recognition, of noticing blessing. The name comes from Leah's words upon the birth of Yehuda. Hapam odea et Hashem, this time I will thank Hashem. And as such, it also shares the same root as Yehuda, the name from which the Jewish people themselves take their name. So embedded within her name is not only gratitude to Hashem, but also a reminder of who she belongs to, a connection to Am Yisrael and to Eretz Yisrael. And then Miriam. Miriam is named for Leora's direct ancestor, her 21 times great-grandmother, Rabbinit Miriam Shapira Luria. We first came across her story a few years ago when we began to explore Leora's family history, and it stayed with us. Rabbinit Miriam was born in the early 1400s in Worms, Germany, a direct descendant of Rashi through his second daughter, also named Miriam. She lived in Padua in northern Italy later on in her life. What struck us was that Rabbinit Miriam didn't just inherit a legacy of Torah scholarship, she created a new one herself. In the response of her great-great-grandson and Leora's 17 times great-grandfather, Rabbi Shlomo Luria, the Maharshal, he records that Rabbinit Miriam had her own yeshiva in Padua. He wrote that she taught Talmud to outstanding male students from behind a curtain, which tells you two things at once. First, that she was a serious Torah scholar and a teacher of real stature. And second, that the world she lived in did not quite know what to do with someone like her. Her story stayed with us because it is the story of a woman who did not wait for permission to lead, who created Torah, who shaped people, even when history did not fully preserve her voice. And in naming Odeya for her, we are not just remembering her, we are ensuring that her legacy continues through her. Miriam is also, of course, inseparable from the story of Pesach, and Odeya was born into that story. Miriam does not stand on the sidelines of redemption. She helps make it happen. She watches, she protects, she leads, she sustains. She ensures that Moshe survives. She leads the women in the song at the sea. And our tradition teaches that the well that sustained the Jewish people in the desert was there because of her. She is a force within the story, not just an observer of it. And so to give this name at this time in Pesach felt incredibly right for us. Odeya Miriam, one day you will hear this or read this, and you should know that your name was chosen with care. It carries our hopes for you, that you live with a deep sense of gratitude, that you notice the good, that you remain connected to your people, to your story, to something larger than yourself, and that you have the courage to step forward, to lead, to speak, and to shape the world around you. You are also, it seems, going to be quite well traveled. In September, you will be heading to South Africa for one aunt's wedding, and in November to Israel for another. And by that point, you will have 4 passports. 4. Leora and I were each born with 1, and you have been here for a week and are already surpassing us. We are not entirely sure what that says about us or about you, but it is objectively impressive. Rabbi Jonathan Sacks once wrote that to be a Jew is to be an agent of hope in a world serially threatened by despair. That is what we hope for you, that you grow into your name, that you carry gratitude with you, that you are surrounded by people who love you like those in this room and beyond it, and that you live a life that adds something good, something hopeful, something meaningful to the world. Thank you all for being a part of this moment. We feel, as I said at the beginning, deeply blessed. And Odeya, you are entering a world already filled with people ready to walk with you. And may you always know that.
What a beautiful explanation of 2 beautiful names with reaching back and reaching forward. Without knowing those explanations, I made up my own. Actually, I made assumptions, but I think you might also like my assumptions.